Russell Brand takes down Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of the ladies on The View because of this.
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go. Now, he had a bad night the first time that he went out and debated with Kamala Harris. And everybody wanted him to quit then, say, you can't talk to women like this, or you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. He came back, said, you know what, I got it, and gave 4 years. So, yeah, I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine.
Step in, not deliver through the old bowel. In a sense, if you are a host on The View, you live in, I've been on there a couple of times, there are a bunch of producers backstage, and I don't think that it seems insidious or nefarious when you're participating in the culture. At least it didn't when I was doing it, when I was being on MTV or hosting the VMA Awards or showing up at the Oscars or doing a bunch of talk shows. I just felt like, yeah, I am important. What I'm doing is important. It's only now I realise that what I'm doing is not important. No one is doing anything important unless we're being kind and of loving service. And that's actually why I'm realising that I don't want to sort of like vehemently criticise and condemn people for having views that are understandable given their cultural allotment, the place that they live within. In the same way, wouldn't you be sympathetic if it was some cousin of yours was a smackhead, a junkie, addicted to heroin? You'd be like, oh, well, his dad used to beat him up or whatever. You'd find you'd find a way to love, wouldn't you? You would find a way to love. And maybe that's what we have to do. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a sentimental little darling, but it seems to me that love might, after all, be the answer. We can't continue to bring...
So, Russell Brand just thoroughly is on a new kick. He's on a new kick of this love, being kind, being happy, everything. But at the end of the day, he still calls it like he sees it and says... what they're doing they think is important, but it's really not. It's not important. It doesn't really matter. And before he goes on that, before he plays the clip, he has more to say.
It's clear to me that the real baddies were the neoliberal establishment. It was weird to see people that I knew that are all right people, occupants of it. I feel the same way about Whoopi Goldberg, because remember, when I was in Hollywood and being an actor and all that stuff, I would go on shows like The View. And Whoopi Goldberg, for me, Whoopi Goldberg's the woman out of Ghost. She's the stand-up comedian that's friends with Robin Williams. Whoopi Goldberg, for me, is a good example of a funny person who made it in entertainment. And yet now, it's just extraordinary to watch the sort of hyper-politicization of previously, I don't want to say innocuous in a condemnatory way, or anodyne in a way that's pejorative, but figures that were not carrying a lot of political heat. Like Jerry Seinfeld now is controversial because people turn up at his shows and because he's a Jewish guy, and that probably, one assumes, comes with a particular set of beliefs around the subject of Israel. And maybe that's what it's like within the culture as well. People have sort of affiliations that are inbred, and it's just difficult to sort of wake up in the machine and go, well, hold on a minute, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Maybe it's hard to do that. I didn't do it voluntarily. I'll tell you that. I didn't do it voluntarily. Let's have a look at Whoopi Goldberg saying that just because someone shits themselves, it doesn't mean they shouldn't be the leader of the free world.
We already covered the Whoopi Goldberg pooping her pants thing. I mean, that was just so ridiculous that Whoopi Goldberg tries to act like, so what if he pooped his pants? It's not that big of a deal. That's a pretty big deal. And now they're all going back on it, endorsing Kamala, saying that everybody needs to stand behind Kamala. And it's like, how did you change your mind so fast? 1 second you're saying, who cares if he poops his pants? And the next second you're saying, hey, Joe Biden did his job. He did a damn good job, but he's just too old now. Well, why? Why is he too old? If he wasn't too old when he was pooping his pants, why is he too old now? It doesn't make any sense. But that just goes to show about the liberal establishment and the media control that these people have. It was like they were just switching things up. They were probably looking at the polls. They knew that Joe Biden didn't stand a chance. They knew that after the last debate, his approval rating went down. Everything went down. I mean, he was not inspiring and people were not energetic, not happy to go out and vote for him. And so, they stuck behind him until they had Kamala locked and ready to go. And who knows what internal dispute was going on, because it seems like Joe Biden said that he's not stepping down. He's running in this race. And he's not only calling out the ladies on The View, he's taking a pretty hard stance with Trump.
Christians, get out and vote just this time.
You'll have seen in the last couple of days the various attempts to use a piece of footage to demonstrate that Trump will, as soon as he's in office, this time, even though he didn't do it last time, cancel all elections and make himself president for life. I loved Martin Gurri's essay about Trump derangement syndrome, in which he pointed out that the various American institutions, failing and difficult though they may be, do prohibit coups of that nature. In fact, if you want to talk about coups, what about the coup that's happened at the top of the Democratic Party, where they've replaced a leader, told us that there was nothing wrong with that leader for months and months, replaced him with an unpopular leader who we're now expected to believe is fantastic. No, what we're invited to anticipate is that Trump, if re-elected, will make himself dictator for a day on day one. And what's very telling is the way they use these bits of footage. Here's a few examples. When they did that, when Trump said, yeah, dictator for a day, for drill, baby, drill, he did say that, didn't he? But he was sort of joking. If you saw him on Sean Hannity say that, you can sort of see he's joking, and he said that he would secure the border and drill. And then the bloodbath example, which was a very specific bit of rhetoric that was referring to and pertaining to tariffs that would be imposed against China if they tried to get cars manufactured in Mexico. It'll be a bloodbath if they do that. And do you remember they were like, see, he said bloodbath, there's gotta be a goddamn bloodbath. Now, in this speech, I feel that what he's doing is appealing to Christian voters who typically don't participate in democracy because this just in, it's bullshit. There's no point voting, particularly if you believe in a divine transcendent spirit and a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, because you recognize that this is the domain of Mammon, or as it says in Ephesians, the dark principalities. This is Satan's realm. And I've been thinking about this a lot as a Christian lately. Nowhere in Christianity does it say, you better get out there and overthrow the government. No, it says that Christ will come back powerful and he will overthrow satanic powers. Well, what's interesting here is Trump, in his appeal to Christians, says, just vote for me this time, you'll never have to do it again. Now, the legacy media is leaping all over this as an example of, see, he's going to make himself dictator on day one. He's going to cancel all elections. And remember, when Trump talks about electoral bias or fraudulent voting, that's a controversial thing. And what they're already saying is that Trump will make himself dictator for life. I don't know that I'm biting on that story, but what I can tell you is we've got here two examples of the speech. One is the version that the Wall Street Journal used, and then there's another piece of footage which is just a couple of seconds longer, but provides you with additional context and shows you, at least to me it seems, you tell me what you think in the comments and chat, remember, give us a like and subscribe, that Trump is saying, Christians, vote this time during the first, or this next 4-year term, because there won't be a second, because he's already out of term. We will make things so rosy and cozy that in subsequent elections you can go back to your transcendent, be in this world but not of it, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, you can't follow the Lord and Mammon, state of indifference to worldly affairs, because we will get it sorted in 4 years. Now,
see, that's what I think. I don't think Trump is going to step in and he's going to create this fascist country. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think it makes sense. I think it would be way too much work. It'd be way too hard to do that. And I don't think that he has the manpower. I mean, seriously, his Secret Service don't even have the manpower to prevent him getting shot. So now we're talking about demolishing the Constitution and everything that comes with that. I think Russell Brand's take here is very valid. I think that that's probably a more likely outcome. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're there, please make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.